I'm Rodney Whittenberg.
And I'm David Heitler-Klevans.
And this is Music for the New Revolution.
Happiness is a warm gun. Put away that gun. This party's simple. Jenny got a gun. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. 41 shot with his own gun. Hey, Joe, I said, where you going with that gun in your hand? I'm the damn fool that shot him.
All right, so we are finally getting to this gun issue that has been, I don't know, it feels like it's been going on forever, actually.
Forever.
But particularly heating up recently.
Yes. 20 school shootings in 21
I've lost count. And
weeks.
I was in a school when this recent shooting was happening in Texas, and you almost get this feeling like, when people are talking about it, that, we still stay shocked in a way, but it's almost like you can't get quite as upset about it because it happens so much.
Often.
It's like,
it's weird. In the modern history, being 54, my first memory of a mass shooting is Columbine, which you would think there were more before that, but that's the one that really struck me. I remember I was driving around New York City listening to the radio in my car because I had dropped my girlfriend off at the time and for some kind of event, and it just was this wave of what is going on. But now, one every week, it's just there's something crazy happening.
Yeah. So it really has become kind of the new normal, and that's the song by my friend Stuart Stotts, who's out in Wisconsin. He wrote a great song about this idea called The New Normal. So let's hear that.
Students walking out the door, hands in the air. They might be scared, but they're well prepared. Follow the procedures that they learned in a drill. Don't know when it will happen, but we know that it will. Teachers learning strategies for counterattack. In-service hours spent on fighting back. Throw a book or a stapler to buy a little time so kids can run away in zigzag lines. Welcome to the new normal. This is what we become. Welcome to the new normal. Blind, deaf, and numb. Blind, deaf, and numb. Reporters talking tactics and emergency logistics. Make a brief mention of the grim statistics. Interview a family member crying at the scene. Then cut to a commercial on your TV screen. Now is not the time to discuss the situation. Time for prayers and healing in our nation. Light a candle, hold a vigil, or gather with your friends, but keep the candle handy. You'll need it again. Welcome to the new normal. Living on shaky ground. Welcome to the new normal. It's the upside down. It's the upside down. Lies are the currency of this debate. Places at the table for the faces of hate. It's like being held in the grip of a snake. What will it take? What will it take? Stories float by like carnival ducks, dragging our attention to the mud and the muck. Not enough water in the salty sea to wash the sorrow away from you and me. Welcome to the new normal. This is what we become. Welcome to the new normal. Blind, deaf, and numb. Blind, deaf, and numb.
No hands to warm, no bedtime story, no lullaby, no little steps in the middle of the night. And the nation's numb. Is this what our forefathers had in mind? What is happening in Washington? 'Cause it's not enough. Your thoughts and prayers, you send your love, you say you care, but you are not my baby. Oh, but my heart has died, standing alone in an empty room, except for my child, but she's not really there. And all the people have gone, and I wanna pick her up and take her home. Can't bear to leave her here. It's not enough. Your thoughts and prayers, you send your love, you say you care, but you are not my baby. Their souls. I bet those lawmakers don't know this feeling that it's not enough. Your thoughts and prayers, you send your love, you say you care, but you are not my baby. Can you do something? 49, 14, 12, 27, 13, 32.
So that was Dispatch with their song Dear Congress, comma, in parentheses 17. It's hard to read that title on the air, but I think those numbers that you hear at the end, including the 17, are the numbers dead in various shootings.
Right. What a powerful song.
Yeah, I think and actually that song, if you do download that as I did illegally, you can support the Brady campaign at the same time.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So listening to that song, it brought up a couple things for me. I was thinking about how, surprisingly, what it brought up is thinking about my grandfather, who was a gun owner. And on my 10th or 12th birthday, he bought me a little gun. And to his disappointment, I ran away crying, saying he wants me to kill Bambi. But my grandfather served in World War II and was a responsible gun owner, and I think that I don't think we'll ever get rid of guns, and I actually don't think that is the goal. Although it is the goal for some, but I don't think, as a lefty, I don't think that's the answer. There's plenty of lefties that use guns, but what do you think, David?
Yeah, well, I think pretty much everybody that I know is saying is that we need reasonable gun restrictions, things that the NRA themselves used to support. I think the NRA has become just the lobbying arm of the gun manufacturers. So anything that diminishes gun sales, they're against, as opposed to actually thinking what makes any sense. And I also think that this whole issue is a good highlight of what's wrong with our political system. Because when you got anywhere from 60 to 80% of people wanting something, it should happen if it's a democracy. And so clearly, when we have a vast majority of people that want these reasonable restrictions and they're not happening, what's happening is that money and gerrymandering have obstructed what people want. And so people are protected from the will of the people if they're in Congress and they don't have to listen to us. But I think that's changing. What's amazing, as depressing as this issue is right now, I feel a lot of hope, and it's mostly because of kids. Yeah. And actually the next few songs are going to get into that, so that's a perfect segue. So it's like, there has been this movement, particularly the Parkland students, that is so inspiring, and to me, they're doing so much right. And even the crazy attacks from the right against them feel like they respond to those things amazingly too. So Randy Rainbow, who we've
played a number of times
because he's got all these great parodies. He had a great one, to this song from Bye Bye Birdie. Oh, and as many of his YouTube videos do, it starts with a kind of a faux interview of that NRA spokeswoman. I don't know what her name is. She looks kind of like Demi Moore, and he actually jokes about that. But skipping most of that, we'll just start mostly with the song. We'll hear a little bit of the interview.
Awesome. Yeah. So here's Randy Rainbow.
Over the past few weeks, major businesses have begun cutting ties with the NRA, thanks in large part to a movement begun by the students of Parkland, Florida. I guess what I'm trying to ask, Dana, is has the NRA finally met its match? And how does it feel to be taken to task, called on the carpet, publicly humiliated day in and day out by a bunch of, kids?
Would you get a load of these kids today? Kids, you could take a lesson from what they say. Kids, they are so articulate, so much more than you. Slimy, seedy, grim and greedy monsters. And guess who's gonna stop you, kids? Full of common sense and a lot of rage. Kids, and they're all approaching the voting age. I'd probably crap my pants if I were the NRA. What's got into these kids today?
A growing number of companies are breaking up with the NRA because
kids could take over soon and they're plotting to. Kids now successfully are boycotting you. Kids, they're so brash and bold and wow, look who sold you out. Avis Budget, Delta and United. You better take the bus, girl. Kids, look, I know you love your amendment, boo. It's kinda shitty, that's why it's number 2. That was a cheap shot, I apologize. You sold your soul to Satan, and now it's time to pay. Thanks to some of these kids, too.
President Trump, meanwhile, under growing pressure, much of that pressure from the students themselves.
Several major corporations are cutting ties with the NRA. Symantec, MetLife, Hertz, Delta Airlines, First National Bank of Omaha,
Dick's Sporting Goods.
That's gonna be a hard one for little Marco to swallow. You know how much he loves Dick's.
Now is the time to get on the right side of this.
If the only thing that these politicians care about is money, we'll go after their money.
Change will come. Kids, they just push and push till they get results. What is up with that? Kids, sounding more like, what's the word? Oh, adults. Kids, they are so compassionate and so logical. Eloquent, non-partisan, and thoughtful. They're probably all just actors. Kids, bid your antiquated old laws farewell. Kids, cause they're woke, determined, and mad as hell.
I'm a parent. These agencies have promised to keep our kids safe, and they haven't. That's why I want answers too, and I hope you join me in questioning them.
And though it sucks for you guys, looks like they're here to stay. What's got into these kids? I wouldn't with these kids. Get a load of these kids today. Is that a gun in your pocket, or you're just nervous you're about to be exposed as the abhorrent, money-hungry puppet you really are?
I think this was a good conversation.
Whatever, girl.
Tonight, nationwide protests. A sea of students from Parkland to Columbine marching out of their schools, demanding action to combat gun violence.
More than 185,000 students walking out of classrooms today.
Washington, New York, Parkland, Florida, St. Paul, Minnesota, St. Louis, Denver, Chicago.
At the Capitol, thousands of shoes make up a memorial to children killed by gun violence.
As a 12-year-old, do you really think that you have the power to make change?
By myself, I don't think I have the power, but together with all these people here, I think we can make a change.
Wow, that was two pretty powerful segments there, David, right in a row. If Randy Rainbow is by any chance listening to our show, we'd love to interview him, as he is so quick in putting these things out, and there's such a big production. I'm wondering how he does it so quickly.
Actually, I was looking into that a little bit because I assumed that, like with these great, progressive media things like The Daily Show, that he had this enormous team. He does it all himself. Everything, like all of the, and there's a lot of stuff visually, if you haven't seen the YouTube videos, that are very clever, quick cuts and stuff like that. And he does a lot of stuff where he'll have multiple versions of himself singing backup. And anyway, I'm amazed at because he does respond to these things so quickly. And, not every single song is as good as every other one, but they're always well crafted. And some of them are just absolutely, masterful. Yeah. I think that's one of the best ones.
That was really funny, and I love the little samples in there. What I was thinking about with that one was one of the things that it is interesting. Everybody look. I mentioned it earlier. I talked about Columbine, but I was thinking back to when I worked with the nonprofit. Was an anti-drug, anti-violence program. This was in the early '90s, and in poor communities, gun violence was an everyday occurrence, and it never made the news. It wasn't the way it is now, where everyone's talking about it. I remember showing up at an elementary school in North Philly, and the kids weren't allowed to go out to the parking lot because there was a car in the parking lot upside down that had exploded because it was riddled with machine gun fire, and there were shells all over the playground. And what do you do? What do you say to the young kids? You go, well, we can't go outside and play today. And in some ways, it's a little infuriating that the problem doesn't get discussed until it reaches the suburbs or
white people. Yeah. No, and that's been called out. And I was really pleased to see actually that the students from Parkland, when people from Black Lives Matter movement kind of brought that issue out, that, a couple of them went to Ferguson and, really tried to make connections. I mean, they're not perfect. They're human beings, but I think they really are trying to answer those kinds of criticisms and say, we really need to look at this as a problem across the board, and that, people not like them have been suffering for much longer, but hopefully joining forces, we can actually do something about it.
That is the thing that will help make a big change if we can bring all the sides together. It is also interesting, when I was doing that work, how people would always go, well, TV is so violent. I'm like, the culture is violent. I mean, that's the other side of this, is that we don't look at just the history of violence in America and how its formation was violent, and it continues to be. I'm always struck, when I think of how, when the battles were happening during the Civil War or Revolutionary War, how people would pack picnic baskets and go watch.
Yeah, that's really disturbing.
But that's our history. That's the country. That is the history. So, I think by being able to regulate guns, we're not going to regulate violence. It's part of our culture, but we certainly can make it a lot more difficult for someone to hurt large groups of people. And
right. And I think, the thing that people often point to is looking at international examples, places like Australia, where they had a mass shooting, they responded with a lot of restrictions on guns, and they haven't had a mass shooting since. And it's not like there is no violence in that society either.
In fact, it's a whole culture based on criminals.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think people often try to, if they are against any kind of gun control, they try to make excuses for why they're different, that's a different society. And I understand that you can always make those arguments. There isn't any other country that's exactly like the United States, so you could always do that. But it seems clear to me that, having certain restrictions on gun ownership does make people safer,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
and the counterexample people often give is Chicago. They'll say, oh, well, Chicago has the most, you know, stringent, but this is the thing. It can't be one place because
Right.
guns don't stop at borders.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense to say, oh, well, you know, California has this and they still have yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, because the guns don't stop at the border. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things like that the arguments just drive me crazy.
Yeah.
The one you mentioned before, too, is like, we're never going to solve the problem entirely, so we don't do anything.
Right, and
You
that's
know,
yeah.
that
No,
doesn't
we
make
never
sense.
we don't do that with other things. Like we don't go.
Nothing
Well, we're
else.
never going to stop car accidents, so let's not wear safety belts.
Exactly.
No, you wear a safety belt, and because it will help.
Right.
And we're going to put airbags in, and we're going to do things to make it less likely that
Right.
it will happen. And this seems to be one of the issues that we're not allowed to touch.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that's most frustrating. I mean, you know, just the fact that we're not that the the Center for Disease Control can't even do a study just to find out what's going on. That's insane.
Right.
That we can't even take a look at it. Not that we're going to even make a change, but we can't take a look at it.
Right.
That's.
But I think a lot of people do think we need to make a change as
Yes.
well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I do too.
Yeah, and the kids themselves, you know, again, to come back to that, you know, they've been such powerful advocates. You know, here's people who have been through a trauma where in their very own school, their classmates were shot down, you know, sometimes in front of them, and they have had the bravery and the strength to come out and speak so eloquently. And you know, I want to play a couple, you know, I think we should play a couple songs next that are actually written by students. And I was only able to find these on YouTube and you know, get them from that. But I'm hoping that they'll make these available so people can actually, you know, support their efforts, you know, financially as well. But the kids from Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, they wrote and performed this song, Shine, and after that we'll hear a young man named Tyler Jenkins. I'm not even sure where he is. I hope he hears this song that he wrote called Save Me that was performed just outside. You'll hear the wind noise in the microphone during the National School Walkout, the first one. So.
You threw my city away. You tore down the walls and opened up all the gates.
You ruined this town. You burned all of the bridges and you slowly let us drown.
You're not gonna knock us down. We'll get back up again. You may have hurt us, but I promise we are stronger and we're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark, but together we will shine the light and whoa, we will be something special. Whoa, we're gonna shine.
We're gonna stand tall. Gonna raise up our voices so we'll never ever fall.
We're done with all your little games. We're tired of hearing that we're too young to ever make a change. 'Cause you're not gonna knock us down. We'll get back up again. You may have hurt us, but I promise we'll be stronger and you're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark, but together we will shine a light. We can hug a little tighter. We can love a little more. Laugh a little harder. We can stand up and roar. If we all come together, it will be alright. Stand up for one another and we'll never give up the fight.
We refuse to be ignored by those who will not listen. There are so many things you can do to become involved. Reach out to your congressman, mail, call, and tweet.
The smallest of words can make the biggest difference.
Be the voice for those who don't have one.
Together we have the power to change the world around us.
You're not gonna knock us down. We'll get back up again. promise we'll be stronger, and we're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark, but together we will shine the light. You're not gonna knock us down. We'll get back up again. You may have hurt us, but I promise we'll be stronger, and we're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark, but together we will shine the light, and whoa, we will be something special. Whoa, we will shine.
I was only 16 when the man came down to pull it. With big dreams in my heart, I got shot down by a bullet. And I tried to run away. But where do you go if the world that you know is unsafe? So I'm gonna, and please remember me. You can take all you want, but you'll never take my memory. And I'm gonna, so please remember me. You can take all you want, but you'll never take my memory. You can take all you want, but you can't take the one who saves me. Thank you, my hands are so frozen.
All right, so I hope Tyler Jenkins hears this.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. So you just found that on the web?
Yeah, well, there was a great sort of collection of things after that first walkout of students of music from that. And lots of, choirs singing Amazing Grace and things like that. But there were a lot of original songs and, there were a lot of really good ones, I thought. And heartfelt, but also, eloquent and said powerful things, and it was very impressive.
It's interesting how I know civics has been taken out of schools, a lot of schools, but how savvy and politically aware a lot of the young kids are these days, even though they're not getting an education in how our government works. I'm wondering.
Maybe they're watching John Oliver and Samantha Bee,
yeah.
And it's very possible that that's where some of that's coming from. That I know a lot of the young people that I know are very keyed into those kind of progressive humor things that started with The Daily Show, and they probably get a lot of their news from
those places, and also see that political action is part of being a responsible citizen. I mean, that was the intent of the founders, that everyone would be involved.
Yeah.
And speaking of someone who's involved, up next we have an interview with Bill Harley.
Yeah, Bill Harley is a wonderful singer, songwriter, storyteller, author, and also just a wonderful human being. And so it was a real pleasure, of course, to talk to him. And he started a group called ASK, which is Artists for Safe Kids, and really started with people who are children's performers who wanted to get together, as an organization and speak out about gun violence. So he will explain about that organization and some of the musical work that he's doing related to this issue.
Here's Bill Harley.
The real impetus for me was the Newtown, however many years ago that was. I worked in that town. Actually, my friend Keith was performing in the sister school in Newtown that day. They did the lockdown. And, that one... I've worked in other towns. I've worked in other schools where, a kid had come to school and shot somebody, and you're kind of aware of it. But that one, and our inability to do anything about it, just was very frustrating to me. And I thought I was nominated for a Grammy that year, and I gave a fairly long talk at the Grammy breakfast about that. that I just feel like we have to at least have people know that we've got, opinion about this. As people who work with kids, it's not just enough to work with them. It's like we all also want to make sure they grow up, at all. So you speak out. And so I am really not, I'm not a great organizer. And because I have so many balls up in the air, and I'm not the most organized person myself, that I think there just comes a point where, well, even if you're crummy at it, you do something, right? We've got a couple hundred people who have signed up. No interest in being the head of a major national organization, but I'd rather be a place so that people of like mind, we know that, we're all working on some of the same things, and to provide some kind of clearinghouse or awareness of information and what other people are doing related to issues of gun violence. We chose the reasonable things. I mean, it's as opposed to world peace, the gun violence thing is, there's 4 or 5 things that we can do to gun violence. I really see it as a public health issue, not a political issue. That I don't think we're going to get rid of all the guns, Although I think if we stop selling as many, they'll kind of come out of the system eventually, This river ecologist said, if you stop the insult, the river will heal itself. And I kind of feel like that about guns. I would like ASK to be a place where people know that there's other people who are thinking about how to do this. Not that there's one right answer, or there's not one song that we should all be singing, or one, poster that we should all be, carrying around, but that there's just this support for people to do things. That's always been my notion of what it should be. We're asking for very concrete things, and none of them are outrageous. None of them are outrageous. Weird, that is like, take away the large magazines, take away the assault rifles, have background checks, don't do these gun shows, allow the gun violence to be studied, Those are all, that it's even political, it just seems bizarre to me. How do we talk about this with our different audiences, and especially with kids in the room? I don't think, standing on stage in elementary school and saying, 400 people have been shot this year, in schools or whatever, that's not necessarily helpful. Their lives are immediate, and I think the causes of violence should be immediate. What happens that these kind of things happen on a very micro level. But all of us, David, as well as I, people, when you're a children's performer, people just kind of assume somehow you don't have any other perspective or something, that your brain is balkanized. You don't have anything else to say. And most of us have written, especially children's musicians, a lot of them are topical songwriters. So we've got something to say in other venues too, and I think that's fine. Dave and Jimmy, Dave came to me when we were starting on Ask, and he's been great on this. His energy is so wonderful. And he said, "Well, I'm working on this song, and I'd like you to work on it with me." And I was like, "Well, you guys are out there in L.A., and I really trust." He said, "No." So we kind of talked about the song, we talked about the idea, and then we just traded lyrics back and forth. And I was like, we should tweak this a little bit. And that song is one of those, like, kind of dancing on the thing. It's unspoken, like we watch him get on the bus, and that line even now is just, it's so wrenching. But it doesn't say, we wonder if they're going to get shot, it's just, what can we do? And so it's kind of this question where I think that, and I really got to give Dave and Jimmy a lot of credit on it. I did help with, I helped with it, but they were carrying, they were carrying, being the water carriers on it. But to ask to name this thing in a place where we can look at it, and the response has been really good. People have really liked it.
Another baby born today. say. Wonder what our girl is gonna be. Kiss and hug her tight. We'll try to raise her right. That'll help her dreams come true. 'Cause there is nothing we won't do to keep them safe. Keep them safe. They deserve a chance to grow. They deserve to know that we will keep them safe. Wherever they may go, they deserve to know we will keep them safe. Now a baby boy cries out, his folks think about just what kind of world he's gonna see. Can we stand and say what we believe today and do the things that must be done to be there for our son and keep them safe, keep them safe. They deserve a chance to grow. They deserve to know that we will keep them safe wherever they may go. They deserve to know we will keep them. Yeah, you know they're watching us. They say goodbye, they board the bus. Yeah, we're gonna have to let them go. Some things must never happen. Keep them safe. Keep them safe. They deserve a chance to grow. They deserve to know that we will keep them safe wherever they may go. Ooh, they deserve to know. They deserve to know that we'll keep them safe. We will keep them safe.
Now I think people who work with high school kids and maybe even middle school kids, you can have those conversations because they're having them. You're not saying something that's not being said. A little different with elementary school kids again, but certainly in high school, this is the issue that all high school kids around the country are talking about. And I think that in that context, we do have a role to speak. It's not, and some administrators will not like that, but that everybody's got to find their own level that they feel comfortable speaking. Versus there's something moving all over this land, there's something moving all over this land. And I wrote a song a year and a half ago, and there wasn't really anything moving all over this land, I mean, I wanted to be, because there were these concerts all over America, it kind of felt like something, but basically that was, beneath the radar. But suddenly you sing this song, I sang it the other night, and it's like, somebody said, "Whoa, did you just write that today?" I was like, "No, I've just been sitting here waiting for it to, the right time to come." So I think that's part of our job is to do this work, know what those songs are, to know what our express. It's the sing along. It's actually based on Up Over My Head. It's like, there's something moving all over this land. There's something moving all over this land. Something moving all over this land. The time has come. Lay down your guns all over this land. And kind of verse the NRA and safer streets and, save kids and stuff like that. So it's not rocket science. It's just a song. I performed it. I wrote it last year when this with this concert across America to end gun violence, and I sang at a couple concerts there.
There's something moving, all over this land, There's something moving, all over this land, Something moving, all over this land, Time has come, lay down the guns all over this land, His mother's crying, 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 there's children dying all over this land, we won't turn back, all over this land, we won't turn back, all over this land, we won't turn back, all over this land, NRA has had its day, all over this land, safer streets, all over this land, we want safer streets, all over this land, safer streets, all over this land, for me and you, our children too, all over this land, 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 there's something moving all over this land, all over this land, time has come, lay down the guns all over this land, all over this land.
I think the other thing that's happened, though, and I think this is, one of the positive things that's come out of this horrible thing is a year or two ago when I started talking about this, there are people who actually were uncomfortable signing the thing. They were uncomfortable about, and when I started posting, of course, on Facebook and Twitter, I would get these things coming back at me, and they were really, the gun lobby and the gun enthusiasts were really controlling the narrative, and they're not right now. They are not controlling the narrative. They're kind of backpedaling, trying to figure out a way out of it, and so I think we've got an opportunity to keep their feet to the fire. Okee Dokee Brothers have a great gun song. It's an Annie Oakley song, which is like, when we're done with this, just put away the guns. And it's really well handled.
Annie Oakley was the best, shooting a star in the west, with a quick draw and a straight shot and a red leather vest. She could hit a bullseye, she could shoot the moon, but at the end of her shows, she'd sing on this tune. Put your 6-shooter down, grab your 6-string guitar, start singing and wishing on a long shooting star, and wish that we might, and wish that we may, hang up our guns and put the bullets away. Buffalo Bill was loaded with fun. His pappy was a pistol, he was a son of a gun. But boys and their toys don't always get along, so after his showdowns, he'd sing 'em this song. Put your 6 Jane was a sure shooter too, but she never gave glory to what shooting could do. They say every legend goes out with a bang, so she put down her gun, and here's what she sang. Put your 6-shooter down, grab your 6-string guitar, start singing and wishing on a long shooting star, and wish that we might, and wish that we may, hang up our guns and put the bullets away.
I was with my friend. Right next door. We found a gun. Inside a drawer. He reached for it. But I felt scared. I said, stop right now. And leave it there. Leave it, leave it there. Don't you touch or take it anywhere. Leave it there. It's not safe, so leave it there. Leave it there. Don't you touch or take it anywhere. Leave it there. It's not safe, so leave it there.
And that was Two of a Kind with Leave It There. So
Who are those people?
Did you write that song with a group of kids, or did you write that on your own, David?
Actually, neither. That was by Stuart Stotts, who did the New Normal song that we did at the beginning, because Stuart actually mostly writes for kids as opposed to about kids, like the first one was. But that was just the tail end of that song, because that was the part that was most relevant to the gun issue. And before that, we heard the very clever Okee Dokee Brothers song, Shootin' Star, that Bill Harley was talking about in the interview. But yeah, so I don't know whether Stuart wrote Leave It There with kids, but we had a lot of fun making it funky. And it starts out with like Poison Ivy kind of story about, and so then the Leave It There is related to that, and it sort of builds from there to a much more serious topic of guns. Yes. But there aren't a whole lot of songs for kids, as you can imagine, that specifically talk about guns and gun violence. And that's one thing that Bill Harley talked about in that interview a little bit was the challenge of working with children on an issue like this, because you don't necessarily want to just scare them. Yeah. So there's, it's an interesting conundrum, and he thinks a lot about that. We think a lot about that. It's kind of fun, I think, in this episode that we've focused a lot on kids and students, and because they have been so much at the forefront of this, current movement, but just thinking about, all these school shootings and things, and the ways that a lot of people after Newtown was like, if nothing happened after that, nothing's ever going to happen. But I think all these things are cumulative. It's like that the fact that nothing happened after that, I think, is part of the reason the movement is building now. In a way, sort of like the Me Too movement, people who are so disheartened by the fact that Trump got away with all the stuff he did in the campaign. It didn't end his campaign like it would have in another time. I think that's some of the genesis for the Me Too movement. So some of these things have delayed reactions,
Well, I think the 8 years of the Obama administration, people were lulled into a sense of, everything's great, it's moving forward, and everything, and then not recognizing that there are that there's still some things that we needed to take on and deal with, and that not everybody was feeling the same way, and we got some work to do. Yeah. So, and
hopefully
it's great.
People have learned that lesson,
and it's also great to see kids are doing it, and it's also, as our mission with our show, it's also to see that there's all this great new music about the issue, because so many times, again, as for the reason why we do this show, is when people think of political issues, they always want to go back to the songs of the 60s, and I think pretty much everything on our list is new.
This is the newest show we've done, I think, and about a very current issue, although not a new issue, but yeah, still. Well, let's actually, before we do our little outro thing, let's hear a little bit of something from slightly longer ago.
Oh, it's our throwback segment?
Well, not really. It's Kokolo with a Mama Don't Want No Gun.
Here we go.
Respect to the man who holds his place in time. Because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised.
You've been listening to Music for the New Revolution. Music for the New Revolution is recorded at Melody Vision Recording Studios. It's written and produced by David Heitler-Klevans and Rodney Whittenberg. Our engineer today is Chris.
Find out more information about Music for the New Revolution on our Facebook page. I'm Rodney Whittenberg.
And I'm David Heitler-Klevans.
And thanks for listening to
Music for the New Revolution.
White people, you will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat.